All right, we have a regular on the podcast today. My friend Megan Blacksmith is joining me once again, and we are talking about one of my favorite topics, which is just this idea of expansion and how do we really break through our limitations to continue to grow and elevate. And she's such a wealth of knowledge on this topic, her NLP training and all of her background. I love digging into these kind of conversations with Megan. She's going to be at Elevate and Inspire in April. So make sure that you get your ticket. If you have not already, you can go to elizabethhenson.co/event. And if you listen to this podcast episode, I want you to use the coupon code ZESTY, ZESTY, for an extra $50 off. Megan is going to be one of our incredible speakers at the event. She's going to be there not just the 2 days of the event, but she's also coming to the mastermind day. She's going all in. So I am very, very excited that you guys will get to hang out with her and have exposure to her and her incredible knowledge. And this is a really, really good episode. I think it's actually even better than the episodes I've done with Megan in the past. So get comfy, grab your coffee, and let's bring her on. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. I help creative business owners and artists build communities around your brand so that business is easy and profitable. When you stay in action, yes, I mean even messy action, only good things happen. We are always learning, and when we can get just as excited about the lessons as the results, magic happens. I've helped million-dollar companies with their marketing, but my mission in this world is to help you step into the best possible version of yourself so you can create your dream business too. We believe in community and people over strategies and tactics. Our theme here at the Messy Success Podcast is the 1% adventure, where we're focusing on getting 1% better every single day. I want you to color outside the lines and embrace the messy journey to take daily action towards your goals. If you've noticed a plateau in your business, we've created a very quick quiz where you can find out your next best move. Head over to elizabethhenson.co/next to find out. Now let's get started. All right. Hello, Megan. I'm like, this is your kind of third time on the podcast.
I love it. I love your podcast, and I love
We've
you.
put in a ton of friendship hours.
Yes, we have.
We've collected crystals together. We've flown together. We've busted limited beliefs together, all the things. So I am really excited today now that I know you even better, to just dive in and talk about all things for my event, Elevate and Inspire. You're going to be one of our speakers, and the topic that you and I just came up with for this episode is expansion, which is one of my favorites. So if anybody's listening to this and has not heard your previous episodes, tell them who you are and what you do.
Yes. So I am Megan Blacksmith. I'm a local, live here with Liz in Virginia Beach. So we get to hang out in person. And I train coaches, leaders, entrepreneurs, course creators in NLP. So Neuro-Linguistic Programming. For people who haven't heard of that, I think the most important takeaway is that we have neuro, our brain, we have linguistics, our language, and then programming. Everything we do, we think we are, is a program. So we help people discover what the programs are, rewrite the programs. Language is the key to finding out what you believe, for finding out really who you are, and then we can use language to shift it.
Yeah. And for me, like, learning that everything that I think is actually what creates my reality and my perception. I mean, it's so mind blowing. It's like, if you're hearing this stuff for the first time, it's like, wait, what? Like, it almost doesn't make sense. But then you start to see these little clues and this evidence of, wait, that is actually shifting my reality. And one of my favorite examples of this, just to like distill down what Megan actually does into like a concept that people can understand, is if I was like, I'll give you $500 every time you see a red car on your way home, you're suddenly going to see a ton of red cars that you would not have seen before, even though the same amount of red cars exists.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so then imagine if instead of red cars, you're looking for all the reasons why you're not good enough to be an entrepreneur. And
Mm,
then now that's what you pick up. That's what you see. That's everywhere on the road. And
yeah.
then you have a lot more evidence of why you can't do something. And the other way as well, once you believe, "Oh, I'm a great leader." And then you pick up more evidence that you're that. So it goes both directions. We just our lovely brain has a tendency, which makes sense for survival, to really just look for the stuff that we don't do well, look for the stuff that could be stopping us. And that's why having this awareness of what the brain is doing every day and how much that filter changes everything and makes us decide everything. Because then we get to know, then we're operating a little bit more with choice versus just, nope, this is just my programming and it is what it is. And I think these thoughts because that's who I am, as if there's nothing we can do about it. And I know at some point it can feel like there's nothing you can do about it. So the good news is you can.
Yeah, and, like, people who have not done this work will say things like, "Oh, it's just the way that I am," or "I've always been this way," right? Where I feel like once you start to build this awareness muscle, you understand not only, like, can you change it, but you're actually in control of the way you see the world, and it's crazy.
Yeah, not only can you change it, but you're speaking your identity every day into existence. I think one of the most interesting examples of this with spoken word was when my daughter, who's now 9, a few years ago, it's probably even 4 years ago actually now, she was 5. The teachers came to me and said, "We think she's dyslexic. We think she learns differently. We think there's something going on." And so, of course, we didn't ignore that reality that she was having a hard time learning, and I didn't want her to take on the identity of I am dyslexic or I can't learn or whatever it is. I didn't want her to take that on. So I approached this with just, an experiment of one with my own child. I never said the word dyslexia to her, and I never really said well, not I never said there was a problem. We just spoke about it as, "Hey, your brain works like this, and your part of your brain that's really creative and intuitive works really, really well. And sometimes the other things, like trying to recognize which letter is which and what order they go in and numbers, may be a bit harder for you. So we're just going to work on that." And we never really told her there was a problem. We just started working on learning. I started learning how people need to learn when their brain works this way. And now it's just not even a thing anymore. I don't know. It was never a diagnosis officially, and so I don't know what it is now, but she just completely reads fine. All the things she used to do that switch stuff around, she just doesn't do anymore. And she just never had a belief there was a problem. And that is the difference to me in whether it becomes a lifelong thing that she is telling herself, "Oh no, I can't start a business. Like I've been told I'm dyslexic, I'm ADHD, I'm this or I'm that." And it doesn't mean that our brains aren't different, because they are. And usually that's our superpower. So we want people to just be like, "Cool. I don't care what diagnosis you have. I don't. I really don't." Awesome. Our brains are all unique and different, and there's always a way to work with them that works for you.
Yeah, I was immediately thinking like, "Oh, I bet that would work for ADHD too." Of like, rather than naming it, because now there's this ability to take it on as an identity, but to also kind of hide behind it, right? Like people will just blame everything on their ADHD, which is okay, no judgment. But if you're not naming it and you're just kind of evaluating new tools for how a unique brain operates, I feel like that changes everything.
Yeah, and it's every category, Liz, because it's if you think about it, it's it's like, okay, we could name ADHD and then have that be a way of going, okay, cool. I need to really give myself a way to work around this and become much more powerful. Like can become an awareness that
Mhm.
now we're like, all right, my brain works this way and I need to do this because of it. Cool. Same thing with things like human design or personality type things. They can become like, oh my gosh, now I understand who I am. And now I understand why I do the things I do, and then be more empowered to work within that. Or we can take that same kind of thing. It's so different, but it really the same kind of thing could be done of like, oh no, I'm a projector, so I can't be around a bunch of people or I can't do a bunch of work, right? There could be stories that we're then putting those in the box too. So this can go across many, many categories. It's always how we use it. And as long as we're using it in a way that gives us more tools and more choice, we're all for. If it's taking away choice and tools of just like, I can never be that person, I can never be a certain way, then that's when I think we get into a little danger territory.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes so much sense. I know when I learned about being a manifesting generator, I was like, "Oh my god, that makes so much sense." And I did give myself the permission slip to be someone that does a lot of different things and has different interests, but it also gave me that empowerment to build a business that supports that. It became more of like, how can I, instead of, well, this is just I'm just doomed to build different bridges for the rest of my business career, right? Like, no, how can I build a bridge that supports that energy of me needing to talk about different things and, put myself in different projects.
That's such a good example because we could use that. I'm a manifesting generator too. So we could use that whole I liked to do a million things as a way of never really doing one thing well and never actually getting anywhere successful, never making any money, a way of really hiding. And we could
Yeah.
be like, "Yeah, but it's just how I am. I'm a manifesting generator." So, even that could be used either way. Or you could be like, "Cool, I can learn so many different things. I'm always growing, I'm always building. I can make this even better all the time and really own that part of it." So, it's like if you wanna hide with this stuff, you hide. If you wanna
Yeah.
use it to your advantage, then, some of the most amazing businesses and creative people had were ADHD or dyslexic or whatever. Like this is a known thing. So we can also then go use that superpower.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. It made everything click when I came up with my signature program because I'm like, okay, I do have to do the selling of it, right? Like, and you guys
Yeah.
have to sell your program, and that we kind of have to do over and over. But there's a little bit of creativity on like different ways of launching. And you and I have both done the local meetups. We'll talk about that in a second. But the fulfillment of my program, I've literally built out my dream that supports that manifesting generator energy where like I can show up on a call and talk about whatever I want to talk about that day. And that fills that cup so much that I don't feel like I'm teaching a course on repeat. And for so long, without leaning into that, I was like trying to make myself be this course creator, but it wasn't making me happy. So I wasn't really being successful at it.
The people we see who come through NLP training that accelerate the fastest are the people who figure out how they work best and then
Mm,
they design everything around that.
yes.
So versus the what we've been told to do.
Yes.
So and this was the same, I was in health, functional medicine before this, so I also saw this in health. It's like the better and I was this person, but the better you are at following the rules and, like, getting A's and checking off the checklist, unfortunately, it was, like, the worse their health was and the worse their business is. Because now you're following somebody else's checklist to success and you're the only one who has your own checklist. So you can be really good at following someone else's plan. And don't get me wrong, you and I, we are mentors, we have mentors, we're always having coaches, and you still need the ability to actually tap into yourself and your knowing how you work and be like, am I really doing this because this works for me, my life, my genetic makeup, how I am, my design? Or is this what I've been told successful people do?
Yeah.
And then questioning that because the leaders out there on the leading edge, they're doing things people aren't doing. So
Yes.
then you have other people saying, "No, that's not how it's done." Because when you are a leader, then yes, there's nobody to look around and say who's doing it this way because you're doing it a new way, which is what we want and we promote and we want people to get into that leadership. But you also know you can't really look around and say, yeah, but what's the step by step? Like,
Yeah.
what's the formula for the math problem so I can get 100? That's no longer available to you.
Yeah, yeah, and some people really want the checklist. I have so many students and community members that are like, "But how?" Right? They want that easy checklist, that how, and I'm like, "Well, I can give that to you, but it's gonna be way more effective if we do this instead."
Yeah. Yeah, we do like those checklists, don't we?
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of all of this and how the brain works, let's talk about why this strategy of community meetups has worked so well for both of us. And so for those of you listening, Megan and I, we both live in the same area. So this kind of worked out. Megan does the night shift and I do the day shift, but we have two totally different communities that meet in person, some overlapping members, which is awesome. And we use this as a way to like obviously give people a taste of what we do and what we're about at no cost. They get to experience us in person, which is such a beautiful thing. There's nothing I'd rather be doing on one Friday a month than hosting these meetups. But it's also a really smart business move because it builds our list and it allows us to fill up our in person events. I have one every year. Megan, you guys have two, now going to be three in person
Yeah.
events to promote their bigger program, and it's just a strategy that's working for both of us. So I would be curious, Megan, as an observer of this and someone who's implemented it, what do you think it is about our wiring that is causing this to work so well for us?
Oh, I think people are craving that deeper connection and just especially with the world of AI as well. I think it's hard now to tell on the internet what is real and what is not. And so
Mhm.
when you have a real human in front of you, you can just use all your bodies, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. You can tell, is this person someone I want to be working with? Is this an energy I want to be around? And I don't know how many people are going around saying that they want that, but once they get there, they go, oh gosh. So the magic of the meetup and the numbers, Liz, for all your people who like numbers, it's just there's so much less. There's so many less quantity of people that you need to even have in your community. So I was just looking. I started a meetup in September of last year. So I think I've done 5 of them, not a lot, once a month. And I have meetup.com and I use my Instagram and podcasts, etc. to share, but I was just looking at my meetup.com and I think there's like 150 members, right?
Yeah.
So not a huge thing, right? If someone had 150 followers, you'd be like, that's not a lot. And 150 people who are rotating who will come to live events is a big number because
Mhm.
from those 4 or 5 meetups we just hosted our event and there were 50 people signed up and 40 out of the 50 came from those meetups.
Yeah.
So like 40 people from hosting I think 4 meetups. That's pretty cool and really, really fast for numbers when you're talking about in-person events.
Yeah. And the
Mm,
other 10 people probably traveled in, so that's why they weren't at the
they
local
did.
meetups because they were not living here.
Exactly, they did. And so then they were all like, "Oh, I wanna start this model." So many people and I saw your model, and I saw you doing the meetups, and I came to your meetups, and I was like, "Oh, this is fabulous. What a great way to connect really quickly." Couple hours of my time once a month. I wanted to make sure that people always leave with something that we actually do something. So I teach something, we journal on something, we do an exercise on something, we interact in some way, and then also time to meet. And I know at events I go to, the collaborations or the people you meet that are now in your local community, even better, those are where the gold is. And so
Yeah.
now people are like all telling their friends to come not just because of there's some content they're going to get, which is great, but also now they're like, yeah, but I've met this person there. And so now they associate you with all these great connections that they have. And you
Yes.
become the leader. And the funny thing about this is that all you have to do to get that authority and become the leader is literally host it.
Just do it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking, and I think most people are thinking that maybe there's some like there's something you have to go through that now you are the leader of the group, or right,
A
like
facilitation course.
yes, there's something you have to be or do, or right, like when I wanted to become a speaker at events, like we started hosting events
Yeah,
and
you built your own stage.
we speak at them, right? And
Yeah.
now then of course people come to that and they're like, "Oh, you speak. Now, now I get to speak at your event and I speak at other events." And really though, we started on our own stage. So it's just I guess I was blown away at the time of like, "Oh yeah, no one actually has to tell me that I am a speaker. No one has to like give me the pass. I get to create it." And so there's a lot of things like that that you really do just get to create that I just don't think we realize we can create. And the meetup themselves, I think that what stops most people, it's like everything else where in business, I feel like the hard thing to do is more the emotionally hard thing to do.
Mhm.
The hard thing to do is send that 5-second DM or email pitching yourself to someone you don't know that well, or you think could reject you, or might think you're sleazy or scammy because you messaged them, or applying for something that feels a little bit out of your league. Those are the needle movers that don't usually take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Whereas like, creating a bunch of images in Canva or right, you can eat up lots of time, but they're not really challenging your identity. They're not challenging you emotionally of like, "Oh no, what if something happens?" So those are the tasks that I think if we can lean more into those, we'd actually don't have to work as much, which is always a goal for the people I work with. I want you to make a lot of money and not have it be tied to a lot of hours, because it's the thing that if you're willing to put yourself out there, rent the space, get the space, figure out how to post this thing on Meetup, figure out what you're going to do. Do you need name tags? Do you need snacks? Like go through the whole thing and realize you're the one in charge, and if nobody shows up, you're the one who's going to deal with nobody shows up. If too many people show up, you're the one who's going to deal with that.
Yeah.
And just like literally put yourself in it. And we are talking about expansion, right? Each time you do something a little bit outside your comfort zone, you expand.
Yeah.
And then when you expand, more people can come. It's like that restaurant philosophy, like you get a bigger room and then more people come, like you get more tables, you put more tables in, more people come. So you're expanding this room you have, you're expanding the restaurant and then allowing the energy of more people to come. But it is cool. It's like you just get to choose and then you do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And a lot of people I know that are listening are probably like, "What? I don't wanna, like, do the group thing. I don't wanna do the in-person thing. I don't wanna lead groups." And it's like but I know when I ask them, when we're talking about marketing and messaging, and all I do is I say, "Well, if I just handed you 10 people right now, how certain are you on a scale of 10 that you could help those people?" And they're like, "Oh, a 10 out of 10." So I'm like, if you can answer a 10 out of 10 to like, if I literally just handed you 10 people that need your help and you know you can help them, then you can facilitate these meetups.
Absolutely.
There's no reason not to. And I think a lot of it is just we manage our own expectations. And I know that I go to those meetups and I'm like, if one or two people show up and it's just the three of us sitting there and they walk away feeling better than when they got there, then I feel complete. Like my mission has been accomplished. And it's like we can remove that expectation of like, it needs to have 20 people to be successful. It's like, no, helping one person is enough.
Oh, here's
And
a good example, Liz, because I
yeah,
just did a different you weren't there because it was in Dallas, but so my, business partner, Alex, is in Dallas. That's the other half of Zesty. And so I was in Dallas for training and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna host a meetup just while I'm here."
yeah,
And I don't know people in Dallas, right? So I was
right.
like, "This will be a cool experiment to see what I can do." So I just wanted to see how I could fill something out of nowhere. So I find that I've gotten really good on Instagram at figuring out where people are and what they do. So I just found an account that's obviously in Dallas that probably you wouldn't be following unless you were in Dallas, right? It
Mhm.
was just it was actually a yoga center. It was
Okay.
so I'm like,
So
okay,
did they have business owners or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. So
Okay.
I found this account. I was like, okay. First of all, I went to the one person I did know in Dallas and looked at who they followed.
Yeah.
A business owner, like someone who I would work with, right? So I
Yeah.
started with someone who I'd work with, and then I went and found this account, and then I would just went to their followers. And so I work with business owners. So when I'm looking, then I'm looking through and I look for, do they have a story? And
Mm-hmm.
is their handle a business name? Because
Or
if
a
they're
professional headshot even.
yes,
Yeah.
right. So you can tell
Yeah.
pretty quickly, is this person, just using this for personal? Is it a private account? Whatever. And so then I just went down through, clicked on anything that looked like a business, opened it up, and I sent 100 messages to random people in Dallas that looked like my kind of people.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
looked like someone I'd want to hang out with. They looked like someone that would love the kind of training we do. They looked like they were helpers, healers, entrepreneurs. They had something, a cool gift they were sharing with the world. And then our gift is to help people drop their baggage and help them get better language, more persuasive. So I'm like, okay, if you're helping people and I can help you, that's a good fit. Okay, so I went through 100 people and so messaged them all, and I don't know actually how many we end up getting on the list per se, but what ended up happening is only three new people.
Uh-huh.
I had 5 and I actually had our student. So we had 15 in the room, but 3 brand new people from this reach out
Okay.
showed up. So 3%, right?
Yeah.
Of the messages I sent. And
Which actually, if you know anything about digital marketing, 3% out of 100 is actually pretty good
right.
conversion.
But I was like, "Oh, it's the 3%,
Yeah.
right?" Um so and they showed up and they, spent an hour and a half with me, and one of them by the end of it she'd never heard of me. She had no
Yeah.
idea who we were. She showed up to this thing, and by the end of it, she had purchased our 2-day event. So, she had spent 2 or 300, I think it was $200 for that one for that night. She
Yeah.
had spent $200 and is coming to our event next month. And the second person was like, I would absolutely come if I'm not in town. So she couldn't come. And she said, you know what, I just want to get a one-on-one session. And then the third person was her husband. And he was like, I was dragged here. So,
Yeah. Okay, but she bought a one-on-one session, you said.
yeah. So, like 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so, because I remember I had that same thought of like, what? What if nobody comes to this? And
Right.
I was like, you know what? One person comes, I'm happy. So I got my one person who came. Not only, I mean, I got my 3 people who came. I got to deliver something cool. I got connections. But in my reach out, like in the process of reaching out to those 100, one of them turned into something else, and we actually got to go do um we got interviewed on a news station while we were there in Dallas, and we got to go to this cool studio, and it's like a private news station. So anyway, we got to go to this really cool studio where we realized you can come do you can do your own podcasts, like live podcasts. And so it was, one, a really cool introduction to people there. 2, we got to be on the show and it was awesome. It's like a super professional, cool trailer show that we now
So
have to
neat.
share, and I met a bunch of people from that. So the reach out without the reach out to these 100 random people, I wouldn't have run into this. I wouldn't have run into that. I wouldn't have
Incredible.
known that they were there. We wouldn't have gotten to do the interview. So I was like, even if no one had come to the meetup, but I'd made that one connection, it was all worth it. And I think it's all about managing, like you were saying, it's like managing expectations.
On like what defines this as successful, because
Yes.
we romanticize that, right? Like we romanticize something based on the potential that we see or that we want to see. But I think what nobody talks about that's really important is like, what's the minimum result that would still have you feeling good about your efforts behind this, right?
Right. And I think realize, and I'm like, I'm in it for the long run of
Yes.
my business and my success. So I have 3%. We could just say, okay, 3%. But really what happened was there are about, 25, maybe 30 other people who responded like, "Oh, this sounds cool. I can't make it."
Right.
And now they're on our radar.
Yeah.
Now some of them are, I'm seeing they're responding to us on our Instagram posts, right? So they are people that maybe didn't come or attend, but now they know we exist.
Yeah.
So I think this is has been the key for me, because for people who feel like, oh gosh, I don't like sales, or I don't like to put myself out there, or I don't want to ever be pushy, right? God, I never want to cold DM someone. People have said that to me plenty, right?
Yeah.
If you feel like you have something so valuable that you're offering for free or for low, right, for really low investment, whatever it is. But when you know what you're offering is so good compared to like what you're asking in exchange, it allows me to message anyone and everyone and their mom. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel bad reaching out to these people to say, "Hey, would you like to come for free
For free.
to
Yes.
this beautiful Airbnb that I've rented for this hour-long presentation where I teach you something?" And people I had, of those 3 people, 2 of them were crying by the end of that night.
Yeah.
Not that crying is the standard, although they had had a really big shift.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I know what's gonna happen when
Mhm.
you get in this room. So I don't feel any sort of way of offering you to come to this community I'm creating and join me and learn because I know. Does that make sense? It's
You
like
know the value. I mean, first of all, it's free. So the value is going to exceed the cost or the investment on their part
absolutely.
by millions, right?
Their investment, I guess, is their time
Their
because people
time, yeah.
going out and it was on an evening and on a
Yes.
school night, that is an investment for them. So for
100%.
them to come and be willing to do that, I want it to be worth their time.
Yeah.
Um, but it takes away that, like, not
Time and money. Now
it
it's
takes a
just
yes,
time. But
and it
I
takes
think
away
time is more
my
valuable
commitment.
than
Yes.
money, right? But we can't make assumptions because there are people that only want to go to free stuff. And then there's people that only want to go to paid stuff,
Yep, that
right?
is
So we
true.
can't really make assumptions there. But I do love that you brought that home about the time investment because I know at the end of the day, when people spend their time with me, I actually feel a bigger sense of gratitude than
Yeah.
when they just pay me money. Because people could pay me money and get my course and never take my course and never get the transfer information and never get the help. But when someone actually gives me their time, like what a gift.
Like, that
Yeah.
they got something in exchange, yeah. So,
Yeah.
whether you're even thinking about in person, this isn't about meetups. That's not what we're saying you need to do.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about something like, "How can I reach out to people?" I feel like having your thing, and maybe it's an ebook, or maybe it's a bite-sized session with you at a really, really great rate, right? So we do that. We do a one-time breakthrough session for like $197 instead of 500, just so people can experience
Yeah.
NLP for themselves. So what can you create that I mean, I know the value of that session is like it's not even 500, it's thousands because I've seen people break through stuff in one session. So how can you feel so good about that offer that you're willing to literally call your friends or DM random people and say, "I have something super cool."
Yeah.
And you've taken away that, like, "Oh, I feel weird about that."
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
so good about what you're giving.
Yes. And it's expansive when we get uncomfortable. And I want to dissect my event a little bit because you guys have been doing events longer than me, even though you just started this community strategy. But hosting my event last year was one of probably let's put it at the most expansive thing I've ever done.
I bet.
And so much of that was not, I never worried about if I get 50 people in a room, can I deliver? That was never a fear of mine. I did worry, can I fill the room? Right? Can I get people in the room? But I went into it really excited about who I was going to have to become to market it. Who am I going to have to become to actually get butts in the chairs and like breaking through all these like don't want to be salesy, I don't want to focus on I don't want to do marketing emails, I don't want to do the things. Right? I really was like, I knew that I had such resistance to that process that I got really really excited about getting on the other side of it. And it was so freaking expansive. And when I managed my own expectations, I was like, okay, this is going to cost me about $10,000 to like really put on this event, and have it be epic and do all the things that I want to do. So if I'm putting that $10,000 on the table to help someone, what do I need for it to be worth that investment? And I could actually say with 10 out of 10 certainty, if I just help a few people, it's worth my investment. I will invest my money in of all becoming this new version of myself, so it's
Yes.
not lost,
Nope.
but also in just helping a couple people. And because I removed that like mindset scarcity of like, oh my god, I got to make the $10,000 back or I'm in the hole and I'm so screwed and blah 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 blah, like that was not even a narrative because I was just willing to throw the money out there to get what I needed to get to like step into this new identity, right?
Ooh, I love this. So I'm copying you, Liz. I love this because like your event, you had speakers and sponsors and panels, and our events have not been like that. And so we're moving from our 50-person space that we just did in October 2nd to 4th in Virginia Beach. We have a 200-person space. And I did the exact same thing. I'm like, we already booked it. And we're like, all right, we're going to book it. And who do I have to come to fill now a 200-person space with
Yeah.
speakers and sponsors and vendors and
Yeah,
panels
you're gonna
and
have to level up. That's a big jump from 50 to 200, right?
yeah,
So you're gonna have to take on that new identity as someone who hosts a 200-person event.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. And does
I love
that get you like so excited? Even though it's uncomfortable, you know there's going to be another version of you that's going to emerge, whether you book 51 people or 200 people.
exactly. Right, just the process of doing it. I
Yes.
mean, we wouldn't even have to host the event. The event could get canceled and I still will have had to become that person. So putting that kind of money down for a bigger space and, all the stuff that goes into physical live events, it's a different level of investment. You're paying for
Yeah.
space, you're paying for real things. Like if people don't come, it matters, whereas online, I mean, it still matters. You just, it's a little bit different. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big stretch. I'm super excited about that. It's just like you said, you just feel like, okay, now we'll have to
Yeah.
see what I have to do to become this person.
Yes, and that literally is expansion. So anyone that's listening, even if you have zero desire to do an in-person event, maybe you just want to run your first online launch, maybe you want to get a space, for your yoga, whatever that thing is for you. The common theme here is getting really excited about that new identity more than getting excited about the results or the money that it's going to produce or whatever. Because, like Megan said, when you're in it for the long haul, it's like, I know I am going to make $1 million. I don't know if it's going to be when I'm 45 or 85, but I just know that it's going to happen. Right. So it becomes more that process of just getting really excited about each new identity and expansion.
I love it.
Yeah,
I live for it.
I know. Okay, so speaking of, we wanted to share this for a reason because at Elevate and Inspire, Megan is going to be one of our speakers and she's going to actually workshop this idea of expansion. So this is huge. You guys will be able to come into the room and be thinking about your expansion thing that you want to expand for. I've already got something in mind for me, and leave ready to like actually start that.
Yes, we're going to make sure that you drop the beliefs that would stop you from doing that. And then when we do subconscious reprogramming, which is part of the work we do, so you're rewiring a belief that you had that came from some event or memory and some significant emotion, right? Some significant thing happened in your life and then it was tied in of like, I'm not organized, whatever it is, some belief that you've now, or limiting decision, we call it. You decided at some moment, this is how it is. And so we get to redecide. So we can help you redecide. The most important part, though, and what I love about Liz's events is then you have to take action now to go be that person with that new belief set. Like
Yeah.
now you have this little dirt path, right? You had a super highway to I'm not good enough. And now you've got a new belief. We've done subconscious reprogramming. And now you have this new belief over to I am awesome, but it's like a dirt path. So we want to make that the super highway. And the way you make that the super highway is by doing the thing, doing the task, doing something every single day that represents I am now a person who believes I am organized, worthy, abundant, whatever it is. So we come up with the very important take home task of what do I have to go now do? And it could be like a 5-second thing. It could be my husband and I just started an Instagram page together. We didn't put anything up. We literally just took out the name because we have this vision of someday doing retreats together. And we're
Mm.
like, let's just put the energy out there that we're starting this
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
I didn't really
You took
do
a step.
anything.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
it
gave
was
me
a
goosebumps.
step.
It's a step.
A step, yeah, a step for myself. I mean, no one even knows. It's not like you can even find it yet. But
Yeah,
so it's a step for me to know I'm going that way.
that it's
And like,
happening.
how can we represent this to your brain? I'm a person who believes I'm worthy of these things. So now you need to go do these things. Now you need to go say no to the things that aren't working or start to receive the things people have been trying to give you, the
Yeah.
compliments, the things. So we come up with the actual task, the actual thing to go do. And that is when people, like, when they do subconscious work and do the task, that's when they take off.
Yeah, and for us with the events, it's like the step of booking this space is like, okay, now this is real.
Yep.
And if you guys listening, you can even like go back and hear me share that level of expansion because I did it. And then now I kind of do these things without even knowing I'm doing them. And it's like, okay, my fear was that no one will show up. Here's the new belief that I took on, that if I spend $10,000 and only a few people show up, then that's enough. And I just literally stepped into that new belief rather than staying put in the, well, what if nobody comes? Right. It's like you physically you're moving into that new belief.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I love it. Okay, and I can't wait. I can't wait for expansion too, because even as we expand, you always got to make the bigger house, as Megan and Alex say, to let more in. And no matter how experienced you are, you're still going to start hitting the edges and be like, "Oh shit, it's time for a new one."
Well, if anybody listening is not yet signed up for Liz's event in April, I highly suggest, because last year it was amazing. The people you brought into the room, Liz, the energy of the room. I only got to be there one day because I had my own event I flew out to. This time I'll get to be there the whole time. That one day, I was there and I got to speak, but I'm having my own breakthroughs just listening and just stepping through the process Liz is taking us through, and being around that many people who are all willing to say hard things, do hard things, step into new identity. There's not a pity party happening in this room.
Hmm.
There is only like, what do we want? And you are amazing at reframing people and helping get them on the path they want. So if you have not yet come to the live event or are signed up, highly, highly suggest it. I cannot wait to see you all there.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun. I'm really excited that this is like iteration 2. So like now that I've done it once, now this is all about like, ooh, how can we make this even better? And we have so many people coming back that it's not gonna be exactly the same. It's gonna be very different. Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, Megan, thank you so much. I cannot wait to have you facilitate that at Elevate and Inspire. And I'll put everything in the show notes, but tell people how they can find you and if they are local, how they can find your meetups.
Yes. So our Instagram is Becoming Zesty. So that if you go there, you can find the link to all the local meetups. And I put out reels of when the next one is, because once a month we do one. I don't know when this will air, so I'll just keep it vague. But we do one once a month. So come find us, Becoming Zesty, or support at becomingzesty.com. You can always email us. I'm in the DMs on Instagram, so just reach out if you can't find it. We'd love to have everyone join. Actually, we do have, Liz, let's see, not March, but April. No, sorry. In March, will this be before March?
Yeah, this will be in like the next few weeks. Yeah.
Perfect. The space that we're going to use, the Family Fun Experiences
Yeah.
space for our event, she is willing to do one of our monthly meetups there.
Oh,
So,
yay.
yeah, so that's going to come see this big 200-person space, has beautiful couches, it has a stage. So, I'm hoping to make that meetup one of our biggest ones, just to come check out the space.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you picked that date yet?
Yes, let me just tell you real quick.
Okay.
We have picked that date.
So I know our next Hampton Roads Creative Network meeting, I believe, is March 21st.
Okay, March 18th. So
Okay.
it's a Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. at Family Fun Experiences down on the ocean front
Okay. March
in
18th. Got it.
Virginia Beach.
That will be going in the calendar. I've been dying to see that space, so I can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want they're graciously donating it for that night, so I want as many people to come see this space, because
Yeah.
honestly, I walk by this space every day. I live right near there, and it's so hidden. It's so small. It looks like this small door and this awning that I've never gone in there, and I'm realizing this was right under my nose the whole time. They do tons of really cool events.
So
Um,
funny.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, well, we'll put all that good stuff in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you soon. And thank you so much for joining us again.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So, just your friendly reminder to make sure that you sign up for Elevate and Inspire in April. It will be on the 24th and 25th in Norfolk, Virginia. Go to elizabethhenson.co/event and use the coupon code ZESTY. I know you cannot wait to come meet Megan. She's incredible and will be one of our keynote speakers. So we will see you there. I cannot wait. If you loved this episode, make sure that you find Megan on Instagram at Becoming Zesty and let her know that you listened, as well as leaving us a review or sharing it with a friend is always so helpful. And we just appreciate you guys so much. Well, we'll see you soon.